Hey, grade eights. Today's math lesson is going to be on 6.7, graphing linear relations. What you'll need for this is a piece of paper. We'll take some notes. You'll need your E. Pearson open to page 359. And in the toolbox on E. Pearson, you'll need to open up that one we worked with last day about graphing linear relations. So let's get started here. On your piece of paper, I'm going to go over here to my handy document camera. What you're going to do here is write down the title. 6.7, graphing linear relations. Okay, underline that. Perfect. Now let's take a look over here. I want you to, we're going to talk about some of the key points I want you to learn today. So I'm going to pull that up here on a Word document. So after today's lesson, some of the vocabulary we're going to learn about is something called a coordinate grid. These might be things you've heard of in grade 7. We're going to learn about the coordinates of a specific point. We're going to learn which is the horizontal axis and which is the vertical axis. And the key point from today's lesson, when you walk away from this math lesson, we are going to learn that equation can create a table of values, and we can graph those table of values. And if it's a linear relation, those points will form a straight line. All right, so right there is everything we're going to learn in today's lesson. Let's start, shall we? So look at our textbook here. All right, so I'm going to go and share our textbook. Okay, so here you see our textbook, page 359. You should have that open. Take a look over here at this little diagram. You see points A, B, C, D. First thing we need to realize is that every point on this is what we call a coordinate grid. Okay, so you see the grid, a coordinate grid. This is every point has a specific location. Think of it as like GPS. Well, we're basically going to figure out what's the GPS of point A here. All right, so I'm going to write down point A on my document camera here. Okay, so point A is going to have 2 points. I'm going to make this little thing like this. And what we're going to notice is there's going to be an x-axis and there's going to be a y-axis. And x always comes first and then y. The way you think about it is x is actually going to be our horizontal. So in that case, if you think of horizontal, that's like laying flat, okay? That's horizontal. And our y is going to be our vertical. Now, if you're thinking of basketball and you're like, hey, vertical, how high can you jump? Vertical goes up, and in this case, it will go down, okay? So let's go back to point A in our textbook here. Okay, so look at point A. So the first thing you notice over here in the top corner is we're looking for the x. So the horizontal, in this case, it's right here, the one that lays flat. So where does A line up? Well, A, if we go down here, is 4. So in our coordinate points, we write 4 as our first point. And then we go with our y-axis, which is our vertical, or up and down. A, if we go over here, is 2. So if we look at this again, we can say the coordinate points of point A would be 4, 2. Okay. Let's try a couple more on that same one just to get the hang of it here. So look at B. B is a little different. Okay, so if I go B here, I'm going to put my bracket. Okay, so where is B on the horizontal? Now you notice there's 0 here. These numbers to the right are always positive. We know that. We've worked with number lines. So everything to the left of 0 here would be negative. In this case, B lines up with -3. And if we go up, you'll notice it lines up with 3, positive. Okay, while we're here, let's look at C. So C, if I do this, just move my document camera so you can see that in the corner. So C over here on the horizontal axis lines up with -2, and it goes below 0. So now we're into integers, the negative numbers, and it lines up with -2. So the coordinates of C are -2, -2. One cool thing you'll notice about anything in this coordinate plane right here, both numbers are always going to be negative in your coordinates. And take a look at D. If I look over here on my x-axis first, it lines up with 2. So I'm going to put 2 down. And then it's on the line. It's not above or below. In that case, it's neutral. It is 0. Okay, so that's what I wanted you guys to learn for today, just to refresh your memory now. All we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at an actual equation. We're going to come up with a table of values, and then we're going to graph it and see if it's a linear relation. All right, so I'm going to go back to, just going to erase this really quick. Not bad for a dollar store. All right, boom, cool. So let's go over here and go back to share screen, go to our textbook. Awesome. So let's go look at an actual equation. Let's take a look at this example here. So this girl named Sylvia, she works at a garden nursery. Nice summer job. Now, how much does she get paid? Well, it's unique. She is paid $6 for every tray of tomatoes that she plants. All right. So let n, it's a variable, it's an unknown. Let n represent the number of trays that Sylvia plants. Let p represent her pay in dollars. So an equation that relates Sylvia's pay to the number of trays she plants is p is equal to 6n. Okay, well, let's go back to our headboard. So we want to know what our pay is. Any job you get, you want to know what your pay is. So we're going to let that be represented with p. So our pay is equal to, well, it's quite simple, the number of trays that we plant. So there is an unknown. If you have a slow day and you only plant 1 tray, well, you're not going to get paid as much unless if you paid like planted 5 trays, right? So what we're going to do is we know that she gets paid $6 for every tray of tomatoes she plants. Okay. So now we're going to put this into a table of values. That's our relation. That's our equation. That's what I meant to say. That's our equation. Now we have to create a table of values. Okay, so that was one of the other things we talked about. Over here, our input is, we're going to input that, and our pay is going to be our output there. Okay, so let's say she shows up to work and has a bad day and plants 0 trays. Well, our boss is going to look at her, and he or she is going to say, you made $0 today. You actually did no work, so I can't pay you anything. We know that 6 times 0 is 0. Okay. Next day, she comes in, she says, I'm going to be more productive. I'm going to plant 1 tray. Well, if I go over here, 6 times 1 is 6. Perfect. Just put lines here to keep it a little easier. So she goes in, 2 trays. 2 times 6 is 12. That's not bad. All right, she made $12. So we could keep going with this. We'll do a couple more. I want to know. Let's bump it up. She has a really productive day. She goes and gets 5 trays planted. Well, 5 times 6 is 30. And then let's say she had 10 trays one day. Well, 10 times 6 is 60. So here's our equation. Here's our table of values we created from that equation. And the last thing we have to do for this lesson is we have to create a graph. So let's go do that. How do we do that? Well, we are going to go back to our textbook here. And we're gonna do these three little bars. We're gonna drop down to, we see our toolbox. Where is our toolbox? Down, 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 right here. We're gonna expand the toolbox until we see data grapher right there. Okay. No, that's not the one we want. I apologize. Let's go back to here. I don't want data grapher. I want coordinate grapher. Big difference. You'll see why. All right, let's go to our E Pearson and let's go over here. And I already pulled up the coordinate graph. All right, so here is our nice little coordinate plane. Our job here is to now enter our data from the graph here and see if it graphs into a straight line or not. Now, if I notice over here that all my numbers are positive or neutral, zeros, and then the rest are positive, I don't need a full plane because I'm not dealing with any negative numbers anywhere. So let's make it a bit bigger. I'm just going to go to the first quadrant. Okay. And then what do you notice? My X here, my 0 to 10, 10 is the highest this graph has to go on the bottom here. Right now it's to 18. So we can edit that. All right, I'm going to set my axes here. So my x-axis starts at 0 and it only has to go to 10. And it can go up by 2 every time. That works. Now my y-axis is at 0. And if you notice over here, what's the highest number we have to graph? 60. So I have to get this all the way up to 60. And that's a pretty high number. So let's see if it'll work if we go up by 5 every time. It might say it's too big of a number. Yeah. So we have to go up by 10 every time, which is fine, just to fit in for this graph the way it works. So do you notice here? 0 goes up to 10. So now over here, we're just going to start entering our values. So if she plants 0 plants the one day, she makes $0. Notice where our first point is, 0, 0. Next day, she plants 1. And we know that she gets paid $6 per plant. Let's see where this one goes. Okay, we're starting to trend upward. That's good. Next, she plants 2. And we know that that is equal to 12. Well, if this is a linear relation, we should start seeing that point be somewhere. If I extend that line up there, let's see what happens. That's looking pretty linear. Next day she comes into work, plants 5, makes $30. Well, this point should be somewhere right around here. Let's see what happens. That looks fairly straight. And then if she plants 10 trees, she makes $60. Boom, right up there. So if you notice, this is a linear relation because all the points here, if I said 4, I would be able to figure out whereabouts, boom, it'd be on the line there, and it goes over here to 20. All these points would fall on this line. And that is a linear relation. And that's what you're going to work on today, grade 8s. So let's go back to, so hopefully that made sense to you. Okay. I'm just going to look at other things I want me to teach you, make note of. No, today all you're going to do, let's go back to the textbook here. Okay, grade 8. So here's one question I want you to look at. It's an example in the textbook on page 362. What happens if y is equal to negative 4x plus 1? Okay. If you look at the question here, it says create a table of values for the relation for integer values of x from negative 4 to 4. That's just a lot of fancy speak. Here, let's make our table of values. We did that in our previous example. Now, what they're asking for here, if you look really closely here, it says they give you the values of x. I started at 0 for the plant analogy, went up to like 10. Well, here, I was just making that up. And here in this case, they're telling you start at negative 4 and work your way all the way to 4. So -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And now what we're going to do is fill in our table of graphs. So take a look up here, -4. So in this case, we're going to substitute -4 in for this x. So we have -4 times -4. Well, we know negative times negative is positive, so 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 equals 17. So we just keep going. -3 in for x, -3 times -4. That's positive 12, plus 1 is 13. And you'll start noticing a pattern emerging over here on this y-axis. That's what math is all about, finding patterns. All right, so right now, I think I see a pattern emerging. Hopefully you can see one, and we'll test that theory out in a second. So let's substitute -2 in for x. So -2 times -4 would be positive 8, plus 1, 9. Yeah, I think I see my pattern. What difference? How much is it jumping by here each time? You see it's going down by 4 each time. So right here, if it goes down by 4, this should be 5. Well, let's check it out. -4 times -1 would be positive 4, plus 1 is 5. Good. Substitute 0 in for that. Well, -4 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. So let's keep going. I notice my pattern, it's going down by 4 each time. So here, if I go -4 times 1, well, that'd be -4. And if you have -$4 and you add $1 to your bank account, you're actually going to be at -3. Okay, and -7. All I'm doing is looking at my pattern and following it. -11. In this case, 4 times -4 would give us -16. Plus 1. So if you had -$16 in your bank account, but you added $1 to your bank account, it would actually be at 15, -15. So now we would graph these in our graphing part of the textbook, and we'll see if it forms a linear relation. Our example from the previous question, I want to reset it all. Yes, I'm sure. Notice here we have a lot of negative numbers we're dealing with now, so we don't want to deal with just this first plane because that's when everything's positive. So we want to go back over here and we want to do a full plane. Good. What's our lowest number we're going to get to is -4 and 4. We're good there. Our biggest number is going to be positive 17, so we have to change that. Our lowest number is negative 15. So let's take a look here. I'm just curious, did I make a mistake? We'll check it out. We'll see if we did. We'll know if I made a mistake if this line, however it forms on the graph, is not straight. So first we have to set the axes. Our x-axis, which is our horizontal axis, -4 to 4. So we can just go -4. Now we'll go with -5. Just give us a little room here. All the way to +5. Sure, everything can go by 2. And over here, we need our negative number to be -15. So let's give this a little bit of room. -20. We'll go all the way up top to 20. Just give us a little bit of room. And I'm guessing we'll have to go by 5 on our step to fit it in. Let's see if that works. It does. All right. Let's start entering our numbers in here. So -4 over here gives us 17. All right, -3. Over here gives us 13. -2. Gives us over here 9. -1. 5. Are we noticing? Yes, we are seeing a pattern emerge. Over here, 0. Over here, 1. Over here, 1. Over here, -3. Over here, this is a little time consuming. You don't have to do a lot of these questions to get the hang of it, right? I just wanted to do an example where there was negatives in the equation and show you that it's not actually that hard. Although if we wouldn't have done the example, some of you might have thought, might have got flustered when you shouldn't. And I know you wouldn't get flustered normally, so I'm just showing you what this one looks like. So I know it's a little bit longer. That is not going to be right. Let's go negative 15. Hey, what do we notice about our line? It is linear. All right. Um, that's that's it right there, folks. So let's take a look at, yeah, so there you go. That's pretty simple right there. Let's take a look. You can work through the textbook right now. You don't have to do a lot. I'll let you choose how much you want to do here to get the idea. I might go to question 6 and try and graph. I would start on question 6. I would write down the equation. I'd fill in my table of values. It wants you to go from 0 to 5 on the x and fill out your table of values and then graph it. And I think you should be good. And that's all the key lessons that you need to for this lesson, to know for this lesson. So shoot me an email, send me an email, whatever you got to do. Good luck. You guys got this. Girls, guys, it'll be awesome. I got nothing. I need a signature sign out. If you guys give me some kind of signature sign out to end these videos instead of me just awkwardly talking to the camera, that'd be great. Comment on that. Appreciate it. And have a good day. You got this. Take care.